Before the presentations, our previous winner, Nan Kind, will give us some information on how our donation was put to good use. So we want to welcome Leo Fulami from Nankind. And Leo, you have 5 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a heads up at 4.5 minutes. So
Okay.
take it away, Leo.
Thank you so much. And before I begin, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you all for helping us make a difference in the lives of the families that we support. In order to demonstrate the impact that you're helping us to make, I'm going to share a video of one of our families, Lynn. So excuse me while I share my screen. Okay.
Finding that I had
Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
cholangiocarcinoma was literally a shock. My husband died of this cancer 5 years ago. It was pretty much that thing that you go, wow, things were going really good, and then all of a sudden, they're not.
She said that it was a tumor, and it was devastating because I already knew how it ended up that first time.
And I had looked into getting Arabella some mental health, making sure she was okay. And then this lady told me about Nan. Laura came into our lives in November, I think it was. And the great thing about that is I was halfway through my chemo treatments and I was exhausted. And so Laura would show up at 4 o'clock and I'd go to bed. I'd be like, oh, I can go to sleep and have a rest. And Arabella would have something fun to do.
I've always loved to volunteer and just be part of the community and make a difference in the community in any way that I can. And I also love working with kids. When I first heard their story, devastating, but I knew right away that they'd be so strong because they'd been through so much together. And I was just so excited to meet them and get to know them and be part of their journey. And I knew that I could really help them as well, just making their life a little bit happier and sharing some laughs and memories.
Well, Laura's sort of the person that I can get away with when my mom's not feeling very good. She's fun, we laugh together. She's like a perfect match for me.
There's been a lot of change since Laura's come into Arabella's life. I actually think Arabella's become more confident.
I feel I can talk to Laura about my emotions and how I'm feeling, if I'm worried about something. She's such an awesome person, and then I'm so happy that she's in my life.
Somebody who really cares about somebody, would support somebody like that, she has got the biggest heart.
It's an honor to know that they appreciate me so much. I'm so happy, and sometimes I'm I can't believe in myself that I'm someone's rock like this. It's truly amazing, and that's why Nan really changed my life, because I have this new role that I've never really been a part of, but it's been going really great.
Having Nan step in and do that, and then you guys call me and ask me how I'm doing and stuff, it just feels like I'm being remembered, and that's, I don't know, it feels really special. This cancer journey has really, I feel so loved by people who don't even know me. And I'm I feel so blessed and so loved by the support and the people that have come by our sides. It's amazing.
So this touching story is just one of the ways that we've been able to support our families through in-home support. I just wanted, okay, sorry, 1 second. Through in-home support. And I'm going to just share a little bit about how your gift is helping us at the moment. So let me share my screen again because I lost my screen. Okay. So over the years, we've been able to support over 2,500 families with in-home support and all the other ways that we support families, both in-home and virtually. In Lynn's case, we were able to also offer her meal support. And she had relayed to us how it was just such a relief for her, because apart from, even though she was going through so much, okay,
4.5 minutes.
Okay, even though she was going through so much, it was able to eliminate the time for meal prep, unloading groceries, cooking and cleaning up, and then also ensuring that they have nutritious meals. Okay, so your gift of $6,800 is going to help us provide meals to 5 families 6 weeks. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you, because you're going to help us support families through the toughest time of their cancer. If you have any other questions, I have our email and our website here for you to find out more. But I just want to say thank you, thank you. You're making a huge difference in the lives of our families. So thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Wonderful presentation. It's great to really hear how our donation has made an impact on the community. So thank you again.
Thank you, Bina.
Heartfelt video. Okay, it's time to hear from our three new contenders. Let me remind each charity you will have 5 minutes to present. I'll signal at 4.5 minutes that it's time to wrap up. And then there'll be a Q&A. Please write your questions in the chat, and our moderator, Marianne Sakuti, will present them to the speaker. So our first charity is Camp Cucumber. This charity sends single moms and their kids to camp. They service single mom families struggling with homelessness, addiction, mental health issues, food insecurity, and abuse. So welcome to Diane McQuaig, who is the speaker for this charity. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. And I think we're going to kick it off with Joanne showing a video from Camp Cucumber that will give you a good understanding of our program. Joanne, are you able to do that? Just need some audio there. There's no audio. Can you hear?
No.
No. Joanne, there's no audio on this. Can we try something?
Shari, we can't hear it. There's no audio.
No, there should still be audio now.
Yeah, I know there should be.
Yeah.
Is Shari muted? No.
I've asked her to unmute.
We run a fabulous program with the Regatta, opening ceremonies.
Can you start again, do you think, Joanne?
City, and we dance under the stars. We have camp.
If we can start again, that's great if you've got the audio now.
Just
Thank you so much.
Concrete City behind and enjoy Camp Cucumber.
Still no audio.
We run a fabulous program with the Regatta, opening ceremonies. We have DJ come up from the city and we dance under the stars. We have candlelit dinners for the moms. Part of our goal at Camp Cucumber is to build a healthier relationship between mothers and children. So the best thing for us is to see a mom and a kid rolling down a hill or going up a high rope or getting onto a paddle boat or a canoe or swimming together in the lake and just laughing. We really see a bond created. Our goal is just to wow these families and to give them a lifetime memory that they will cherish always. I'm so proud of you.
At this camp, we provide a totally stress-free week for our moms and children. We offer a daily program. The moms have a separate program from the children where they can leave all of their worries and stresses behind in Toronto and enjoy a great week of freedom and fun.
The things I've done this week, emotionally and mentally, something's clicked, and I feel different today. I feel better for sure. I've been dealing with a lot of struggles in the past year and a half, and coming here, and just from the directors and the mothers and the camp council, everyone, it's just been such an uplifting experience.
Looking fabulous.
Have just done high ropes and was so much excited because this is so empowering. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me.
Does it feel good up there?
Yes.
QPR is absolutely amazing. You've got a bunch of moms and kids who've been through so much, and you get them out here in a situation where they can relax and have fun, and for the kids to go back to being kids is just amazing.
The staff is fantastic. Even if I have any problems in my past, they can deal with it. I can cope with it, right? And it gives me a healing so I can go back to the city and face it.
I love Camp Cucumber. I had so much fun.
We've been battle boating, kayaking, doing a lot of stuff. Everything. And Cucumber is fun and the best. Just come. Like, seriously, it's amazing. It's awesome.
Types of relationships that you build with the moms and the kids really are special. You go in, and every ounce of effort that you put in, you can feel 10 ounces of happiness going back at you.
They did a miracle in my life. Amazing and a miracle in my life.
To be here for the week, it builds up children, it builds up moms, it makes friendships, and it changes your life for the better. And it's something that will always stick with you.
It's really the journey from despair to hope. And it's about having a support team. It's life-changing. It really is. 1 week can set them on a really positive journey, and it opens up so much hope for them. They have lifelong friends after this week. It's really, really lovely. And in this community, they find kindred spirits who reach out and say, I'm just like you, and I need support too. To recognize each and every one of our moms and campers who have come to Camp Cucumber this week. Everybody has a birthday tonight. This year, the program and the theme for camp, it happens to be Dr. Seuss. They've created their own hat, they've decorated them, and they're all going to wear it for a huge camp-wide birthday party tonight. It's been amazing to see the change in the moms and the kids, and we love all of them. Because of the happy if you feel like because of the happy if you feel like happiness is the truth.
4.5 minutes, so begin to wrap up.
Okay, so I'm sorry, there was a little bit of audio challenge on my end. I'm not sure whether you had the same, but my name's Diane McQuaig, and I started Camp Cucumber in 1991. It was a result of being in the community. I had 4 daughters at the time, and I was trying to find something to impact those who were less fortunate. And I reached out to the Jane Finch community, and together with the Red Cross, I had my first Christmas dinner at Young and Lawrence for 250, and we shipped them down from the Jane Finch community for that dinner, and I ran that dinner for 25 years. And
okay,
that was
Diane, we're going to open it up to questions now because
Okay.
we've reached our 5-minute mark.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we have our first question, and someone is curious as to where the camp is and how long is the stay?
The stay is 1 week, and it's up in it has been in the Kawarthas until this year. We're making a bit of a change up to Perry Sound.
Okay. And Roz was curious as to how the families are selected.
I work with social workers throughout the GTA, and I work with quite a few shelters. So a lot of the families come from shelters, and then they're all referred by social workers.
Okay. And why did you start Camp Cucumber?
I'd never been to camp, but my daughters had been to overnight camp, and I thought, what an amazing opportunity to take these moms, whisk them away from the concrete jungle of the city, and give them a wow week. And that's what we have done for them.
Okay. And another question we've gotten is, how is the camp staffed? Is staffed by volunteers?
Yes, for many,
Paid
many
staff?
years we had 16 high school students, and they'd all get their 40 hours of community service. They'd come up for the week, but as it's evolved over the years, now I actually am paying for staff. at the camp.
Okay. And how long have you been operating?
32 years.
Okay. Diana asks, where would our money go?
Okay, so the week costs about 32,000. So the 6,800, if that's what we're talking about, would pay for the bus. The coach is about 4,000, I guess. And then insurance costs about 1,500. So that's 55 right there. That's without even stepping onto the camp property and all of the meals and the accommodation and all of that. In the end, it's about 32,000.
Okay. Ross was also asking, how many families come to the camp for the week?
We take one coach with us, so 56 moms and kids.
Okay. And can one mom bring more than one child, or is it
absolutely.
one?
No, not at all. In fact, I really encourage the social workers to work with families who have multiple children so that the mom can get a real break. And we've had up to 5 kids at one time.
Okay. And how are you funded other than?
It's a good question. I just wonder all these years, where's the money coming from? I hound my family. I hound my friends. We only have a couple of small corporate donations. So basically, I'm beating the bushes every year.
Okay. So I know I myself noticed on your website that each family has to provide a $50 registration fee. And for some families, that could be a lot of money. Do you have any sponsorship programs where people would
the camp
pay that $50 on behalf of the family?
Well, the camp was free for many years, but then some of them wouldn't show up at the bus. They, if they're struggling with mental health, they may not be able to get out of bed that day. Or we decided that there had to be some skin in the game for these families. And so they find more value from it when they've paid for it. And it gives them some respect, and they're really, putting themselves out there financially. If there's a family who could really benefit and the social worker is strongly recommending them, one of two things can happen. The YWCA I work with very closely, they might fund it, or on the rare occasion, I might forgive it. But in principle, all of them have to save their pennies. They don't have to pay until they come. I can work with them on it a little bit, but ideally, they're putting forth the fee.
Okay. And what kind of follow-up do you do with the families to measure the impact that this week has had with them, for them?
Last question.
Okay. So I'm in touch with the families by video, by audio, telephone call. We have Zooms together, but I'll give you just one example of what I got this year. Hey, Bubbles, it's me, Tiffany. I want to share the most amazing thing I've accomplished due to my time at camp. I've officially crossed the Canadian-US border. I drove to Buffalo for the day. I'm so proud of myself. I've had fear and anxiety holding me back from a lot of things, including leaving Canada, and going to camp gave me something I desperately needed: confidence and self-worth. I can never thank you enough for what you and the program have created and have done for me and my daughter. I love you so much. I get these all the time.
Well, that was a wonderful way to conclude, Diane. Yeah. This was an inspiring presentation, and
thank you.
Our second very amazing video from Nankind, and now from your camp, Cucumbers. So thank you so much. And we're going to move on to the next charity. Thank you. And the next charity is Eco Schools. This charity supports schools as they take on environmental projects in the classroom and on school grounds. So welcome, Ryan Diamond from Eco Schools.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having me. This is pretty exciting. And thank you, Diane. That was an amazing presentation. You're doing incredible work.
Thank you.
I must say. So I don't think you can go wrong tonight, everybody. We're all going to benefit from just having heard these stories, I think, at the very least, and sharing them with you. So I'll just jump into my slideshow. I know the timing is of the essence, so I'll do my best. I don't have any videos to lose any time, so that's the good thing. But I am speaking to you about Eco Schools today. Eco Schools Canada. This is a charity that I didn't found, but I've been working with for the last 5 years. We are a national charity, and we incentivize environmental learning and action through a certification program for K-12 schools across the country. And we were born in Toronto, and so a good chunk of our schools are in this city, but also throughout Ontario. But we are now, as of 2020, a national organization. I'll just give you a little bit of a breakdown of some of the numbers that applied to us since last year, in our last school year. We had over 30,000 student leaders engaged. So these are members of what we call an eco team or an environmental club at the school. Over 18,000 environmental actions were taken. This is a range of themes. This could be sustainable transportation campaigns. It could be reducing single-use plastic waste. This could also be gardening programs or waste reduction or energy reduction programs, or even written campaigns to school boards or even government. 1.6 million hours of outdoor learning was reported to us, and we worked in over 137 school boards and districts nationwide. So how does our program work? The way that we have tried to incentivize action is, first of all, we're a whole school program, so we don't want to focus on any single topic, and we're not the kind of organization that just goes into school and kind of makes an inspiring presentation on the environment and then leaves and never comes back. We are a certification program that is actually, every year schools have to participate in order to certify as an eco school. As a national program, of course, the program takes different shapes in different places. So, for example, if you're in a rural school, you might not even have a recycling program available to you. But in a city school, an urban school, you might not have any space to do a composting program or any green space. Maybe there's a bureaucracy in the way and you can't plant a garden. In Saskatchewan, the environment is very different than it is in Newfoundland, where we're working on sustainable fishing initiatives. So it does take a different shape, and we have to adapt to the local context. And the way we do that through our platform, I'll show you in just a minute, is kind of our bread and butter. So how does the program work? This is our certification levels. Anybody can be a participant. It is a free program for all publicly funded schools in Canada. If you earn 50 points or more, and I'll show you what it means to score some points, then you could be a bronze school. And if you get all the way up to 101 or more, you are a platinum school, and also known as a green flag school, which is an international certification and quite an inspiring story for a school. Picture it kind of like winning the hockey championship at your school, and there's a nice recognition. We don't give trophies, but a nice flag that you can have in your gymnasium where you can celebrate the fact that you've gotten to that level. So we have a little bit of a simple step-by-step program to follow. Just in summary, everything's curriculum linked, so it takes a different shape in different provinces as the curriculums change from province to province. We're also fully bilingual, but the first step is to kind of create your eco team, set some goals and a plan, engage your school community, reflect on your results, and celebrate at the end of the year when we give those certification results. So what I'll do quickly is just show you our platform here. So our platform kind of works, and students can access this platform, or teachers or administrators or parents or even grandparents, if you'd like. If you're a grandson or granddaughter or son or daughter goes to an eco school in Toronto, you can see this kind of online shopping experience, which is shopping for actions. You can plant a pollinator garden. You can take an active sustainable school travel campaign, plant some trees. We have ways of sorting through this action library, but there's about 50 different actions, and some of these might sound familiar to you or be self-explanatory. 4.5 minutes. Okay, so I'll just very quickly, if you jump in here, you get to see an action guide where we tell you some best practices of what to do, some resources. Here's some tracking sheets for the Waste Free Lunch campaign that you can do. We also track engagement throughout different cities, provinces, and across the country, so you can just get a sense of what the impact has been reported to us through our program there. And just for this program, I know there's some money at stake, and while I'm very happy for it to go anywhere tonight, the Eco Team Awards is a new initiative that I thought of that we can give $5,000 from 100 Women Who Care to an eco club. We would do that contest. We'd launch it in the new year, and the money would be distributed by April, where an initiative would happen, and we can have an in-person celebration event if any members of 100 Women Who Care would like to come to a Toronto school to celebrate with their eco team. So I hope I wrapped that up in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, you did a great job. This is a very inspiring cause. We know how important the environment is to all of us, and getting in on the ground floor and teaching kids at an early age, that's terrific. Thank you so much, Ryan. Questions now?
All right, so if anybody has any questions for Ryan, could you please put them in the chat? And you seem to have answered my own question with your last slide there, Brian. So perhaps you could expound on it a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah. Often we do have cash prizes for schools. That's the best way to give money to schools. You wouldn't believe with the bureaucracies of school boards sometimes how hard it is to give money to schools on occasion, but we are very embedded in Toronto anyway, all the school boards in Toronto and independent schools as well. And giving $5,000 to an eco team so I think we would just kind of frame it as a contest. What would you do with $5,000 as an eco team? And they would tell us about some of the initiatives that they would want to do with that kind of money, whether that's buy equipment, plant a garden, have a big celebration during Earth Week. So there's and maybe actually having an advocacy campaign within their neighborhood or community. So there's a lot of ways that money can be spent, but we wanted to leave it to the students to kind of create their ideas. We can give them some suggestions, but ultimately it's up to them to think about it and deliver on it.
Okay, and we have another question here. Diana would like to know how are you funded?
Well, a lot of sources, I would say. Individual donations is a very small portion of our kind of funding. Our financial statements are on our website if you wanted to get into more detail, but I would say roughly used to be, it was about when I joined the organization, it was over 95% Ontario government. That's now dropped to zero with the new government. So we had to kind of pivot, I would say. And now we are funded over 60% through earned revenue streams that we sell a service or a product to schools and school boards. We also have some initiatives we have work with Health Canada, with Natural Resources Canada, Environment and Climate Change Canada. A lot of other foundations as well fund us. So the split is all on our website, but that's kind of roughly where it comes from.
So I think you've answered Marilyn's question here, because she was asking if there is federal or provincial funding, and I think the short answer was
yes to federal, no to provincial.
Yes to federal, no to okay. And Ross wanted to know what difference does the program make to students outside of school, and is there any carryover from what they've learned?
Yeah, I mean, it's a K-12 program, so we are really in the schools, and that's kind of in the name, eco schools. So we do try to focus on, I mean, home schools can participate, outdoor learning centers, which are also a form of school, can participate. But generally speaking, it does take part on school grounds. So sometimes you see an initiative where students will go and plant 500 trees somewhere off school property, but we don't really count that as part of our program. We're mostly focused on what's going on the school grounds or in the school community more directly.
Okay. It doesn't look like we have any more questions for you.
Hey, we're just about at 9 minutes, so that's perfect. Thank you, Ryan. Very
My pleasure.
inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last charity is Carrying Testimony. This charity uses lessons learned in the Holocaust to promote tolerance, combat racist beliefs, and educate about anti-Semitism. And our speaker is Michelle Gleed Goldstein. You're on, Michelle.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you a project that really is very near and dear to my heart, Carrying Holocaust Testimony. And it's a program that provides firsthand Holocaust testimony in school through descendants of Holocaust survivors. And it was developed to ensure that students continue to learn the history and lessons of the Holocaust through meaningful personal connections to Holocaust survivors and their descendants. Why is Holocaust education so important? Well, aside from basically learning history and understanding history, it is really a starting point for teaching diversity, equity, and inclusion. It helps stop anti-Semitism, racism, bigotry, and hatred in all of its forms. It reminds students of the importance of understanding the world around us and what's happening in our world. It highlights the impact of the choices that we make in our lives. It provides opportunities for students for critical thinking, and it creates a framework for understanding other genocides and events around the world. So a very important lesson for the students. The United States Holocaust Memorial has spoken about the importance of individual voices in the Holocaust, and it says the collective experience helps students make meaning out of the statistics of the Holocaust. And Yad Vashem says the importance of survivor testimonies has become widely recognized as a central source for understanding the Holocaust. But of course, we know know the survivors are aged or unfortunately gone. So the question is, who will remember when the survivors can no longer tell their own stories? And who will share this history with the world? My late father and I joined with Holocaust educators and talked about the very important quote from Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor, author, and Nobel Peace Prize winner, who said, "When you listen to a witness, you become a witness." And as we thought about this quote, we recognized that descendants of Holocaust survivors have lived in the shadows of the Holocaust their whole lives. They know the histories of their families, and many of them feel very passionately about continuing to share this message. But we didn't want to lose the voice of the survivors themselves. So through our program, we find descendants of Holocaust survivors and we interview them with their survivor parent or grandparent. We then divide that interview into short 2 or 3 minute clips, incorporate photos and music, and the descendants prepare a PowerPoint presentation that incorporates their own family photos, artifacts, and these very important clips. They then go into schools across the GTA, sharing their family's history, using their own voice, but importantly, incorporating the survivor's voice as well. And I'd like to share with you a short clip from a presentation at a high school. The hardest things for my father was what happened in school. So you told me that you were a soccer player at your school and that you played goalie, and you claim that you were a good goalie, but
The best.
the best. Tell me about what happened with the soccer team.
All of a sudden, I'm pushed out of the soccer team. All of a sudden, I'm not a good goalie. I'm not there. I had a very good close friend who came up to me and he said to me, "I can't be your friend anymore." My dad said to me that I cannot be friends with Jewish people anymore.
So the presentations flop between this descendant telling the story and then the video clips from the survivors that are focused mostly on the most pertinent parts of that history. So what do we hear from teachers and students?
Excellent alternative, and really it's very impactful for the kids to hear the stories from the perspectives of the children and the survivors and what they went through.
Me being 15 years old in 2019, I'm going to pass it down through, my children and grandchildren.
I like that even though we didn't hear it firsthand from a survivor for most of it, we still heard it from someone who was affected very strongly by it.
I think it's nice to have both voices, that Michelle can say some of the answers and things that she learned from her dad, but to also allow it to be Bill's first person response. Again, keeps the audience engaged.
So what is the cost, and what do we get from that cost? Filming each survivor with a descendant costs $6,250 plus HST to film, edit, and produce. We have filmed 20 survivors with their descendants to date, and they're out speaking in schools. We have no staff. It is entirely volunteer run. In this school year alone, we have booked or are in the process of booking 92 schools across the GTA, primarily grades 6 to 8, especially because of the rush of new grade 6 curriculum now. And that represents about 8,000 students. And since our inception in 2017, we've reached about 25,000 students. So our numbers are rapidly growing. We currently have 2 survivors who are interested in being filmed with their descendants. And if we were to receive these funds, it would help cover one of those survivor filmings. So we have a great team of survivors with their descendants who are presenting all over the city. It's a very impactful program. Students are really moved by the presentations. They remember the presentations, and they go home with important messages about what we've learned from the Holocaust.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. We are at our end and we'll move into questions now.
Okay. Sherry was curious as to how you find your survivors to film.
It's all entirely by word of mouth. We did reach out. There was a team of about 80 survivors who used to speak through the Neuberger Holocaust Center in Toronto. And so we've used that list as a starting point to reach out to people. But then it becomes really word of mouth, people asking people, posting on Facebook and social media, and trying to find survivors.
Okay. And how are you funded?
Entirely funded ourselves. We have no government funding, no claims conference funding. It's all fundraised ourselves from hitting the road, calling people, calling friends, calling our business associates, and getting money that way. There are some families who, if they're in the financial position to do so, help fund their own filming, but for the most part, that's not the case.
And your presenters are all volunteers, I take it?
They are all volunteers.
Okay. And how did the schools find out about your program?
So the TDSB schools, we've made a connection with one of the key players in the public relations department at TDSB who had brought us in for a couple of presentations. So through her, we've distributed brochures to the teachers. We've applied to be listed as a preferred, I can't think of the word now, preferred resource for the school. It hasn't actually come through, but we're still speaking in TDSB schools very regularly. And other schools, we work with the head of the schools or the principals and send out brochures to them, and sometimes do trial presentations for their teachers. And so a lot of just reaching out.
Okay. And is the program restricted to that grade 6 to grade 8 group?
No, not at all. It fits very well in the grade 10 history curriculum, in the grade 11 and 12 genocide curriculum. So we speak regularly to high schools. It just so happens that Minister Lecce brought in mandatory Holocaust education in grade 6 for the first time this year. So this year we're getting a lot of requests for grade 6.
Okay. So we have two more quick questions if we have time for that. It says, do you take children of survivors as volunteers whose parents are no longer with us?
It's a great question. And right now we do not. We are a small organization. And so we are staying single-mindedly focused on trying to film survivors with their children. Sometime in the future, when there are no more survivors that can be filmed, we'll relook that and see whether we want to incorporate other ways of sharing. There are Shoah tapes that many children of survivors have from their parents, and we can do presentations using those. But for now, we're really focused on trying to have the speaker, the descendant, in the video with the survivor, because we feel it really gives credibility to that speaker.
Okay.
Last
So
question.
that's our last question.